I give you instruction in your corner. We're having a clean match, okay? Good luck.
So the last time we saw Bernabe Concepcion on Showtime in Puerto Rico, he knocked down Juan Manuel Lopez in the first round. His confidence was soaring. In the second round, the then champion ended up stopping it. For Mikey Garcia, what a stepping stone this could be. According to what we've heard, if he wins this fight, there's a good chance that he can take on the winner of our main event between Salido and Juan Manuel Lopez. Fatima, the wife of Miguel Garcia, hope in her eyes as we start the first round. These kind of stepping stones, gentlemen. Al, such an interesting thing to watch for a young fighter like Mikey Garcia, knowing that if he gets past this hurdle, the whole boxing world may open up to him.
And for some fighters, it might be a distraction or something that might alter his concentration and make him complacent. Certainly not Garcia. He is, as we pointed out, mature beyond his years, has a very methodical and really excellent approach to the sport.
Yeah, but a lot of times for a young fighter, you know, that's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of weight. I mean, you cannot look at that big picture. You have to stay focused on the guy in front of you. For a perfect example, Lopez, you know, he had the pot of, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but no one told Salido.
So Garcia, coming off a fourth-round knockout win against Juan Carlos Martinez in his last fight on October 22nd. He had a great amateur background in 2005, National PAL champion, 2004 National Junior Golden Gloves champion at 132.
You know, Bernabe Concepcion is a fighter who is always dangerous, and Garcia made the point. He pointed out the knockdown of Lopez, and Concepcion is an aggressive fighter who wants to try and pressure the counterpuncher Garcia, but he has to do it in a very smart way.
In his previous fight on May 6th of 2011, Concepcion lost an 8-round split decision against Juan Martinez, prompting Freddie Roach to abandon Manny Pacquiao's fighter. Both fighters taking their time, trying to feel each other out. What's going through their minds right now, Antonio?
Well, right now it's definitely a fill-out round. Like you said, Garcia is poised to be so young. He's poised past his years, and this is what you want to see. You know, the next couple rounds, you'll see him open up a little bit, start jabbing, throwing combinations to the body and things like that. And Concepcion right now is just trying to see what he's going to bring to the table. He's trying to feel those punches, his power on those gloves and the punches that he's not landing.
Concepcion now looks a lot more disciplined in the first round compared to when we saw him in the first round against Juanma.
Yeah, and he's fighting a different kind of fighter, which helps him. I think against a counterpuncher, he can be a little more, he can get his rhythm in a fight, and he's doing that in this fight.
Garcia getting a little closer as the first round comes to an end. Scheduled for 10. So Garcia takes his seat on the stool in his corner. And Al Bernstein, what are the keys to victory?
Well, he did it in the first round. That is establishing the jab. And we see that he is going to take his time. He's got a guy that fights at his own pace. And the right hand, when he decides to drop it, is a very powerful punch. And for Bernabe Concepcion, he wants to be busy. Wasn't maybe as busy as he would have liked in round one. And when he's coming in, he's got to move his head and knock it in with those counter punches. And then he's got a very good left hook to both the body and the head. Those would be effective. Yeah. And that's Benji Gonzalez, who is in the corner of Bernabe Concepcion, who did move in for Freddie Roach. And it was a situation where Concepcion really wanted a Filipino trainer to be with him, and first another trainer, and then now Gonzalez. And so he feels more comfortable, I think, with a Filipino trainer working with him.
This is the second round scheduled for 10 in the featherweight division. That's 126 pounds. Bernabe Concepcion is in the red and black trunks. He is the journeyman fighter who's had opportunities but has never been able to get to the next level. Meanwhile, the contender, Mikey Garcia, in the black trunks. This the big step-up fight for him. A championship fight could be next if he can take care of business this evening in Puerto Rico.
Michael Kontz, who along with Pacquiao manages Bernabe Concepcion, said that, you know, he has to really approach these fights with more confidence than he's been. And one of the things about fighting a counterpuncher like this, it at least gives you the chance to get your bearings in a fight and maybe build some confidence over the first few rounds.
And you're absolutely right, Al, but if Concepcion is here to win this fight, he cannot allow Garcia to fight at his pace.
Yeah,
he's going to have to press him.
Yep.
He's going to have to put him in uncomfortable waters in order to really rattle this young kid.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's true.
Antonio, it seems as if you don't like the pace that Garcia is establishing right now as he tries to land the straight right in.
Oh, no, the pace is perfect for him. But I'm saying for Concepcion, if he wants to win this fight, he's going to have to dictate the pace. Pressure, pressure, pressure. You can't let this guy, he's too good of a boxer to just sit in the pocket and do what he wants to do.
Concepcion's only thrown, in the last round, he only threw 22 punches. He's only thrown 33 so far in this fight, according to show stats. So that's not the kind of numbers he wants to put on the board in terms of activity. Garcia also talked about the overhand right of Concepcion, which is also, there's the solid right by Garcia. He's starting now to drop that punch in.
Garcia training for this fight in Riverside, California at Indian Willie's gym. It's the same gym where Chris Arreola trains and Josito Lopez. He's been going up to Big Bear as well for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Coming into this fight, Big Bear, such an interesting place, Al. Why do so many fighters love going there?
They started with Oscar De La Hoya for the most part, and Shane Mosley, and it's just serenity up there, and they can get away from the hubbub of cities and do a good job.
Nice sharp left hook by Garcia. Tight defense by Garcia. And Antonio, what are the strengths of Mikey Garcia?
Well, what I see so far is sometimes he has that's a good counterpunch by Concepcion. He needs to do a lot more of that. I see a strong power jab that you don't see a lot of young fighters possess. I mean, this jab is like a punch almost, and it stops his opponent in his tracks.
Siga usando los golpes rectos, ¿ok? Muy bueno. Y entra con ese jab izquierda y el pasito para atrás, porque te está aventando esa derecha por arriba, ¿ok? Haga su trabajo aquí por dentro.
Okay, you got to keep working the jab and then hit with the right.
Nomás para atrás y el golpe va a pasar nomás, no te va a pegar, no te va a conectar.
The punch will start coming. You just got to start measuring him up correctly.
Use más ritmo los hombros para que lo confundas, para que no sepa qué golpe tiene más.
Mikey Garcia using that jab that Antonio talked about and doubling with it, and that sets up the beautiful right hand. That Garcia has power in that punch, and if Concepcion stays on the end of these punches during this fight, he's going to be in trouble.
Mikey Garcia is the younger brother by 11 years of former IBF junior lightweight world champion Robert Garcia, who is also, as mentioned, his trainer.
And the Garcia family, as Antonio alluded to, kind of a royalty in boxing, the first family of boxing. Eduardo Garcia, the dad who trained Fernando Vargas. Robert Garcia, now a renowned trainer who trains Brandon Rios, among other fighters, Nonito Donaire, Antonio Margarito. And also Robert's brother, Danny, who trains Victor Ortiz, who we will see on our network in a terrific rematch against Andre Berto.
Third round, scheduled for 10. In the 126-pound weight class, featherweights, Mikey Garcia. In the black trunks, Bernabe Concepcion of the Philippines in red.
No.
As we take a look at some of your Twitter posts, one of the new innovations here at Showtime.
We are nothing if not interactive here at Showtime.
And don't forget, tweet us, trend us, Facebook us. I don't know how to do any of that.
Antonio is the master of tweeting. Are you kidding me? You know, we see by Garcia, you know, that he controls as the tempo of fights. And there was a nice right hand by Bernabe Concepcion. And he's trying to sneak in those power punches. But as you said, Antonio, this is not the way Concepcion needs to make this fight. You can't let Garcia just dictate the pace.
No, you can't. And another thing I see, you know, Gus alluded to, what does this guy has? He has a really tight defense. It's going to be very hard to open him up. You know, he reminds me of a young Oscar De La Hoya. He's not as fast, but he's tight, and it's hard to get through his defense.
And he's got something Oscar De La Hoya had trouble with early. He knows his identity as a fighter 100%. And, you know, even though he's a counterpuncher, he throws 65 punches around. That's what he averages according to show stats, and that's a lot for a counterpuncher.
Nice stiff jab by Garcia. Concepcion missing with the countering right. Now goes to the body with the right hand, chopping him down. Ooh, stinging right hand by Garcia that time. The 1-2 very effective in this round.
Concepcion is doing a lot of aggressive, good stuff, being aggressive in this fight, but it seems like in this round, Garcia is not allowing him to set up. He's going to have to be ready to punch at all times.
Fans not happy with the lack of action here in the third round. Now we will go to the corner of Bernabe, the real deal Concepcion. And as you mentioned, Al, Bernabe wanted a trainer that was Filipino to really establish a closer relationship and be with them more often.
And to be training in the Philippines as well, which is where he trained for the Simbenji Gonzalez in his first fight with him. There was another trainer prior to this who came in after Freddie, and now Benji there with him, and the training in the Philippines, they thought was important. He rented an apartment, Concepcion did, just a block away from the Flash Elorde Center where he was training to try and really connect with his boxing training.
Bernabe Concepcion in the red, Mikey Garcia out of Oxnard, California, born in Ventura, California. In black, undefeated, 23 KOs, scoring 11 of his last 12 by way of knockout.
Coming into this round, Garcia had landed 29 punches, 22 of them were jabs. He's continued to use the jab here in this round, and you just know that the right hand is following.
As you take a look at total punches.
Yeah, a big edge for Garcia, both in terms of what is landed and thrown. Not landing at a huge percentage, Garcia, and that's not as good a percentage as he normally lands.
Garcia getting very close to dropping a big right hand on Concepcion. He's missed by inches.
You know, against Matt Remillard, I'm sorry, Antonio. Against Matt Remillard, when he fought him, both his brother Robert and dad both thought that he should go after Remillard a little earlier than he did, and he didn't. He said, no, I'll know exactly when he's not dangerous anymore, and I'll get him out. And he got him out in the 10th round. And maybe this fight is similar. You know, he's drawing Concepcion in to the moment when he feels like he can hurt him.
Nice countering right hand by Concepcion.
And Concepcion needs to do more of the counter punching. I was going to make a statement that the jab is the difference in this fight because Concepcion seemed like he's not reaching Garcia with the jab. Like there, he's not reaching him. He's not getting close enough with the jab. And look at the difference in Garcia's jab. He's snapping his head back. He's close enough to be able to come back with 1 or 2 more punches.
Yeah, it's a great point. That's why the Garcia right's getting in from time to time.
Now Garcia moving forward. Another straight right hand sends Concepcion back to the ropes. Garcia trying to find his range with the jab. Nice hook to the body by Mikey Garcia. Defense so tight. Lead left hook blocked by Concepcion. Heavy left hook may have gotten around the guard of Concepcion as the round comes to an end.
We've talked about the jabs of Garcia, and they've come in bunches, and you'll see 3 of them in a row. They slight left hook there, and now he's going to jab again and keep that punch out there. And at the end of the round, Concepcion started to get something done offensively. But again, what he ran into was the counterpunching of Garcia. And there he gets hit with the first left hook, and then there'll be another one here closing out the round. That last one did some damage to Concepcion.
We head to the 5th round scheduled for twin. In the featherweight division, 126 pounds. Mikey Angel Garcia in black. The contender trying to make the quantum leap to a title shot with a win this evening in Puerto Rico against a journeyman in Bernabe Concepcion with the red and black trunks.
There's that right by Garcia. We talked about the boxing family of Garcia, but Concepcion had 2 brothers who were pro boxers, and his dad was a pro boxer for a while, so there's lots of boxing in his family as well.
And gentlemen, it looks as if we're seeing a more conservative Bernabe Concepcion at this particular point in the fight, not willing to take the kind of risks that we've seen before.
Yeah, and that can be a contributor to the fact that, like, again, his confidence is not all there. And then he's probably tasted Garcia's power. I mean, even when those punches don't land, they land on the glove and they land on the arms. You can feel that this guy is a solid puncher.
Our fans on Twitter taking note of the jab of Garcia and how effective it is. It's a heavy jab.
And Antonio, how long does it normally take in a fight between 2 in-shape fighters for that distance to start closing?
Well, you know, right now with Garcia, he's had his way in this fight. And this is what the difference between a superstar and a future champion. I mean, you have to close the show. This guy's not giving him any real resistance. He needs to step on the gas a little bit, start sitting down on his punches, getting a little bit closer, and landing some hard shots to see can he get this guy out of there. If he can stop Concepcion in the next couple rounds, that would pose well for him moving forward into the championship fight.
Ooh! A right hand lands, followed by a right cross. Now Garcia moving ever so closer.
I think that last right hand was an important moment in this fight, and maybe the best punch that Garcia has landed. And for the first time, Concepcion looks like he's really on his heels.
Another lead left hook by Garcia. Garcia with so much leverage on his punches out and so much patience to be such a young fighter. You see the amateur background.
Great technique, and he's a thinking fighter in there.
Yeah, a little bit too patient. When you look at all the great Puerto Rican fighters, like guys like Trinidad, I mean, these guys was great finishers, great closers, and that's what you need to be the mark of a superstar in boxing. You got to be a great closer.
Five rounds in the books. Virginia Garcia, Mikey's mom.
She doesn't come to too many fights. This is a rarity for her. She's seen her, her son Robert as a champion, and now also Mikey as well. And we look at Garcia. That was that important right hand in the last round. And, he lands these big power punches, and I think what Antonio's pointing out is when you got a guy hurt like that, maybe you want to go after him, but we'll hear what Robert says. And that's Robert Garcia. You see him leaning in, a former IBF lightweight and junior lightweight champion. Dad Eduardo leaning in, who trained Fernando Vargas. And I mentioned the brother Danny, who trains Victor Ortiz. So this family has lived and breathed boxing for a long time.
We head into the sixth round. Mikey Garcia in black. Bernabe Concepcion in the red and black. There have been no knockdowns in this fight so far.
Concepcion coming out trying to fire the jab, but taking big counter punches for his trouble.
Josh Barnett, Cormier coming up. And the big strike force, heavyweight showdown. Grand Prix coming to an end. Cormier breaking his hand, so it took a little longer for this tournament to conclude.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And right now, it seems to me Antonio Garcia is serious about trying to end this fight.
Yeah, he is. But he's doing a lot of head hunting. I mean, he has to dig something downstairs to the there you go.
He listens to you.
Yeah, but you look at this guy leverage on his punches. This is the mark of a good puncher that can generate that type of knockout power. Leverage. He's never off balance.
11 out of the last 12. That speaks to it.
Concepcion allowing himself to be in the corner. Let's bring in Chuck Giampa for the unofficial Showtime scorecard. Chuck.
Yes, this is a classic example. Garcia is a classic example of building his arsenal round by round. He started with just the jab, working off the jab, doing good counter punching, and now he's working the body. Each round he's getting stronger and stronger. I got a shutout for Garcia.
Concepcion's mouth open now. Maybe fatigued as he fights off the ropes and back to the center of the ring.
In his last fight against Aaron Garcia, who was a very good amateur fighter, but came in with a 10-2 record, won a split decision. Concepcion. There's a nice right hand by him, but it was a struggle, and that maybe was an indication that for him to get back to fighting these elite fighters is tough for him. And right now, he's not faring well against Garcia.
If I had any type of critiquing to do against Garcia, I would say that he doesn't go to the body nearly enough. And if you're going to fight the guys like Lopez and Salido, you're going to have to break these guys down. You just can't depend on the headshots.
One thing you can't say, guys, is Concepcion has been so defensive tonight. Not as many openings as a fighter. Now don't forget, coming up next, our main event, it's the rematch. Juan Manuel Lopez trying to regain his title against Orlando Salido.
That should be so exciting. The first fight was tremendous down here, and we're happy to have Antonio with us for this one. You're going to enjoy this. This crowd certainly ready in anticipation. It filled up most of this arena, virtually every seat. in this Roberto Clemente Coliseum, a revered place for boxing in Puerto Rico, and they are hoping that their man can win back the title.
So many superstars of boxing in attendance tonight. And one thing that we learned, Muhammad Ali fought here once upon a time.
Against Jean-Pierre Koopman, and he's the idol of Juan Manuel Lopez, who pointed out, hey, Ali lost 5 times. You can lose and still be a great fighter. Even Antonio Tarver lost.
Now let's see if Mikey Garcia in black starts to step up the pace here in the 7th round, scheduled for 10 in the featherweight division, 126 pounds. Concepcion moving his hands now, hooking off his jab, trying to land the right cross, blocked though by Garcia. And how important is it to not only win, guys, but to look good when you're winning?
Oh, at this stage, it's very important because, you know, you only as good as your last fight.
Let me say that again. To look spectacular when you're winning.
I mean, it's very important for a young guy making his mark at the title. You know, he can really go in there, and if he's looking great, it'd be better for him at the negotiation table. You know, I mean, he can gain more fans. The networks are going to love him even that much more. So everything is predicated on how he looks.
And Al, if you don't look great, will the networks go up to you and say, hey, you know, you won, but you didn't look great?
Well, you know, I think the thing about Mikey Garcia is that he's the kind of fighter who will all of a sudden create a... Well, we're going to have a stoppage here, so let's take a look. It's for the glove, some tape from the glove from Bernabe Concepcion, and they will take it off. I guess they're going to be okay taking it off. So I think Mikey Garcia is not the kind of fighter who's a crazy all-action fighter, but what he hopes for is a fighter that will... at least be somewhat aggressive to him so he can land those big counter punches.
And I know what you're saying, Al. Yeah. It's bring the best out of this guy. Make this guy fight. Because as long as he's on cruise control like this, I mean, why should he come out his shell? But like I said, with me, it was always about my performance.
Oh my, well, there's some marketing right there for us.
And what that was, it was a clean 1-2 punch. Concepcion didn't see it. It caught him on the top of the temple, and that almost got him out of there.
Are you right? Give me a hand. Give me a hand.
So Concepcion in trouble as Garcia moves in. Concepcion on his heels. A minute and 4 to go in the round.
Long way to go in this round, and Concepcion in some trouble.
Left hook. Catches Concepcion again, followed by a stiff right hand. Now he pounds the body. Garcia trying to put him away here in the 7th.
Yeah, he might not get him right now. He may get him right now, but Concepcion looks like he's on his way out of here. And when he came out of this round, he came out with the intensity, but he could not sustain it, Concepcion. He threw a couple combination punches.
Concepcion on the ropes. They may stop it, and they do here in the 7th.
Good stoppage.
And no complaints from Bernabe Concepcion, and joy for the Garcias. Really a solid young fighter. You know, he lures you in on that string, and then ultimately cuts the string, and you are done.
But what I see more than anything is a discipline.
Yeah.
At 24 years of age, when you consider his amateur background and who his dad and his brother are and are associated with. Wonderful, wonderful prospect here.
He definitely is, Gus. And like I said, he's a prototype of a perfect fighter. I mean, until somebody really pushes him and makes him come out of that shell, I don't know how he's going to be able to be beaten.
And if he fights the winner of tonight's fight, he'll be facing an aggressive fighter. Now, here's where he got Bernabe Concepcion in big trouble. The straight right hand, this will be the knockdown. And the right hand had landed. In fact, that was one of 20 of 34 power shots he landed in that last round. So that was very impressive.
Look how crisp this 1-2 is. Right there on the top of the temple, and that's the one almost turned out the lights.
1-2.
Beautiful.
Great technique. And Fatima, his wife, extremely happy at this, and why not? So his wife and his mom in the crowd tonight. And then this is where the fight would be stopped. Referee Luis Pabon feeling that Bernabe Concepcion was not able to handle himself in there. And at the stoppage, no complaints from Concepcion. And I think he understood he had been overpowered by this young man, who gets now 12 out of his last 13 fights as knockouts.
All right, let's make it official. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes 33 seconds in round number 7. El tiempo 2 minutos 33 segundos and round número 7. Referee in charge, Luis Pabon, stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout and still undefeated, Miguel Angel Mikey Garcia.